Salmo. Many of you know him as Splatter Joe. You may know him as a typical student here at FM, but you may not know much about his past.
My life? There's not really a lot to tell. Grew up in Northville. Quit school twice. Went to work. Went back to school. Graduated when I was 20 from high school. My mom told me that she needed help paying the bills, so I got a job straight out of high school. Once I started making decent money, she told me that now I can afford to move out and told me to leave, basically. So I moved out on my own around 20 and worked a bunch of warehouse jobs that aren't very much fun, and decided to quit that and come back here, go get my education. So I'm here. When I was 6 years old, my parents took me to the store, and I had $5 in my allowance I saved up. And they said, you can pick out one cassette tape of anything you want. And I grabbed Quiet Riot's Metal Health, which was 1983, I believe. Splat Guts formed in '99 after a couple other bands we had that weren't so good fell apart. Me and my drummer were into heavier music than everybody else, so we decided to start our own band. My drummer worked in the meat department at Price Chopper. And he grabbed a handful of meat and he said, this should be the name of our band. And he dropped it on the floor and it made that sound, and we're like, Splat Guts.
During the span between 1999 to 2014, Splat Guts had numerous performances across the Capital District, performing at bars, music festivals, and even Upstate Concert Hall.
We stopped playing in 2014. We did pretty good. We had a pretty good arc for a local band. Splat Guts started out as a bunch of idiots in Edinburgh playing in my mom's basement, and then grew into a bunch of idiots playing elsewhere. We had some revolving members for a time, and had a pretty solid lineup from like 2007 on. But 2005 or so, like death metal kind of peaked in the area, and it's been a downhill since. And other things like deathcore and more of the emo stuff came out. So death metal kind of went away for a while, but we still had our loyal fans locally. I think Black Sabbath is probably the most influential metal band of all time. A lot of people say Led Zeppelin, but I hate Led Zeppelin. I think Black Sabbath is a way better band. They're more darker, which is more what metal should be about. It's not a love song. None of them should be love songs.
Besides playing music, Splatter Joe and members of his band did another thing: backyard wrestling. He and his friends filmed it as a homemade tape back in the 1990s.
As a result of a disqualification,
oh man, what carnage!
the winner, Beer Man!
That was the same drunken idiots that were started Splat Guts. It was me, my drummer Dan, who we call Danny Guts, because I'm Splatter Joe, and then CJ, our original guitar player, and Steve, our original bass player. And it was in CJ's yard, and we would just get really drunk and backyard wrestle. And we decided to film it. I think we did. We did 2 or 3 of them. It was, the hits were fake, but when we used actual weapons, those weren't fake. We actually hit each other with those. And the drunker we got, the less we felt it. So it worked pretty good. The blanket match that's on there was pretty boring because we couldn't figure out how to end that. You had to wrap somebody in a blanket and throw them into a tree. I think I wasn't part of the match, but I remember that went on for like 45 minutes. And then CJ's mom came home with her boyfriend, and they were drunk, and he tried to break us up, and we just dropped him and put him into an ankle lock until he screamed.
Darkness imprisoning me.